Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. I gotta bring my microphone up here. Excuse me. On this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answer they need from an employment attorney. I must drink my sad little Starbucks today. Very gross. It's not as good as Dunkin'. We know this. But it is what it is. We have a question here from YouTube user Mega How To Man. And I got to tell you, Mega How To Man appears to have a very good vertical leap. I glanced at Mega How To Man's channel. It's straight up, just taken into orbit. I'm impressed. That's all I'm saying. Just saying I'm impressed. Excuse me. Okay, so Mega How To Man asks us, do HR departments know how to handle FMLA complaints and interference? What do you say to them? Are they on your side or the company's? Okay, so let's take this one backwards, shall we? HR exists for one sole reason, one sole purpose, to protect the employer. The only time HR will help you is when, in helping you, they protect the employer, right? There's situations where whatever's going on is so egregious or so clear-cut that it's very clear that HR must act to help you in order to do its job. Excuse me. Now, you need to keep that in mind at all times when dealing with any HR professional. HR professionals can be cool, they can be knowledgeable, they can care about you as a human being, they can be your friend. They can do all of those things. On average, however, they will do none of those things. They will not be your friend. They will not be cool. They will not be knowledgeable in their field, and they will not do right by you. So they're not all created equal. Some are amazing. Some are guiding lights of decency and humanity. I can think of people who I know, who I'm close to, who are fantastic and well-meaning HR professionals. It is shocking that I know them because that is a statistical rarity. So when you ask me, do they know how to handle FMLA complaints and interference? Some of them do. And that how-to is generally going to be frustrate you and create a pretext to get you out. That's one how-to. That's not a good how-to. That can create claims, but it can also work most of the time. Like, most of the people who experience that behavior from HR end up taking it and get moved out of their job. That's the common reality of the industry. We think that less than 4% of victims actually complain, actually take a stand, and most people just move on. So that's, a 96% success rate. It's pretty good. You can almost say that HR professional might be onto something there if their only goal, their only concern is what's best for the employer, right? There's other HR professionals who would know correctly to document, and to comply with the law. They exist. They're rare. And that leads me to my advice to you, because you ask, let's see exactly what you ask. What do you say to them? Well, you activate your FMLA rights. Excuse me. You tell them you need to use FMLA. You tell them only what you have to. And you engage in whatever process HR has set up for you. But you document all the way through. At every step of the game, you document. Everything is in an email. When they want a phone call, you follow up with an email. Don't use the company email. Use your third-party email. Just be like, hey, I'm using my personal email because it's my FMLA request. And if they correct you and want you to use the company email, so be it. You've got to be a good subordinate. You've got to follow directives. Don't be afraid to print out copies of those emails and retain them for your records if that's allowable in your setting, right? And listen, there's some situations where you can't, where there's certain clearance issues or confidentiality issues, what have you. And if that's the situation, then you need to keep handwritten notes. And you keep a list of the emails that you're going to need to get from them in discovery, because it's entirely possible some of those emails, let's say they go missing later. And you having a list in which you very, very clearly denote which emails are key and that they exist will help you a great deal in HR or in discovery later to obtain those documents or to work with forensic IT to find out maybe those documents went missing with the delete button, right? So when you ask how do you interact with HR, methodically, slowly, ploddingly, taking everything they have to say in, pausing, thinking about what they've said, thinking about your response, researching your response, knowing your rights, documenting. The only way to succeed with HR, the only way as an employee, is to know your rights on the way in and then check them again every time there's a decision point. Because one thing I've noticed is a lot of employees will look at their rights at the outset of a conflict, right? They're like, hey, I need FMLA. The employer's getting kind of funny about it. I Googled my rights. I did a search. This is what FMLA requires. And then they won't look at it again. But time will pass. And as human beings, over time, our understanding of things can travel a little bit. The more we think about something, the more we might generate ideas about that something of whole cloth. Just make them up, right? I've had people say wild things to me about their FMLA rights. Just, I don't have to apply for this in advance. I can just not show up and then backfill it with paperwork. Yeah, if you get hit by a bus, right? Like, if there's a good reason for it, you can probably get away with that, right? Like, yeah, I was in the intensive care unit, so I'm out of the intensive care unit now. I can apply for FMLA. I know you haven't heard from me for 3 weeks, but I get hit by a bus. Compelling narrative, right? But sometimes people just say, yeah, I went to the old country to visit me ma, and she was sick, and I had to go take care of her. And it all happened so fast. I didn't apply for FMLA, so I'll take care of it when I get back. No. Yeah, you could make an argument like, oh my gosh, I had to take FMLA suddenly, and I wasn't on the first day able to tell my employer, but I did tell them right away, as soon as was possible. Compelling, makes sense. There's things we can work with that, right? There, there's some arguments there. Disappearing for 3 weeks, no paperwork, and then coming back and be like, hey, I'd like to file my paperwork now. No, right? But there are people who will call me up and be like, yeah, I just was gone for a while. They fired me, so now I got them over a barrel. And you find out, like, no notification, no call, no show, just poof, gone. And they think it's going to be okay, right? So I can't stress enough, check your FMLA rights over and over and over again. Also, familiarize yourself with your local leave rights, right? If you're in New York, you get the New York Paid Family Leave Act. That offers a number of protections over and above what is offered by the Family Medical Leave Act, right? And they're going to have a distinct set of additional protections. And in a few areas, they're going to have fewer protections. So you're going to end up potentially having to operate using both laws to different extents to get the fullness of the protections, right? So approach HR, tell them what you need, get the paperwork. They're going to have their own custom paperwork. You're going to have, I understand that you're going to say, like, I don't actually have to fill out their paperwork. Okay, maybe. I understand your argument. I understand why you're making that argument. Now let it go. Just let it go. I understand. You could be correct. I understand. It's just like the people who say they don't need a diagnosis for their disability. I understand why you say that. I understand why you believe that to be the case. but no one's going to choose to represent you, generally speaking, if you're seeking accommodation for an undiagnosed disability. That's the reality. And here, too, it's going to be hard to obtain representation if you respond to your employer like, hey, I see that you took the time to create those custom FMLA forms. I'm not going to fill them out. And you can go jump off a bridge because I've got FMLA rights and I don't have to fill that shit out. Don't do that. Just fill out their paperwork. Keep a copy. You have to go to your doctor to get something filled out. Do so. Also, if you're taking FMLA because of a disability, I would encourage you to additionally get accommodation requests in writing with a letter from your doctor, right? I think that's generally all of it, right? There's going to be a lot of things that you don't want to comply with. There's going to be a lot of frustration points if the employer is using third-party HR or third-party FMLA adjudication, whatever it is. There's going to be more frustration, even more than the internal HR. So just stay calm, comply with what they need, keep copies of everything. Don't ever send them your only copy of anything, because they're gonna lose it 3, 4, 5 times. Just very common, right? And just you need to keep it a click away, right? Like, oh, okay, yeah, you lost the paperwork from my doctor. Okay, here you go. It's in your inbox. There it is again. And I'm keeping a copy of the sent, to prove this is the second time that I sent this to you. Thank you so much for your help, HR professional, right? That's the vibe that you're aiming for when you deal with HR. You need to make them aware that you're not the right person to screw over. They're looking to screw someone over. But they don't have to screw everyone over. It's a numbers game. And if you can encourage them to believe that you're the last person that they should mess with, they won't. Because generally they're lazy and they want the path of least resistance. And if you're a problem who knows her or his rights, you are not the path of least resistance, and you will likely be treated in accordance with the law. Anyways, I hope this helps. Like, subscribe, comment down below, share the channel so that it can grow. Take care.